Hi, I'm Sven Kili, and I'm a partner with Saisei Ventures, which is a venture capital company based on investing primarily in Japan, but we do play outside of Japan, and we only invest in cell and gene therapy therapeutics. What we have seen, I think the overlying theme is that one of gentle, subtle excitement. Um, Miguel Forte, who chaired the first day, used a metaphor of spring, and that spring is starting to come. And given that spring, well, the geological spring is starting tomorrow because of the equinox tomorrow, and I heard also the Iranian New Year. So it's a time of new starts, of renewal, and I think people are starting to feel a little bit more positive that the sun is going to come back, things are going to start improving. So I think that's one of the things that people are starting to realize, that the money and the capabilities are all going to be coming back. There's been a big emphasis on targeted therapies and ensuring that the patients are central to everything that we do. Um, and so I think there have been some really exciting discussions everywhere, from investment to regulatory discussions to thinking about value and creating value within companies, to thinking about how we are as efficient with our funds as possible. And so these are many of the topics that we'll be picking up as part of Advanced Therapies Think Tank. And as we move Advanced Therapies Think Tank into our regular meetings, we're really excited to start bringing out and really digging deep into some of these topics and exploring with world leaders as to how these are going to affect us going forward. And hopefully people that are tuning in are going to really learn about how people are thinking about these major topics as we go into the brave new world of cell and gene therapies 1.5 or 2.0, depending on your position. The whole money issue and investment challenge with cell and gene therapies is obviously at the forefront of everyone's minds at the moment. Lots of discussions associated with it. And I think there are a couple of big messages. And the first one is, we are often harking back to the good old days, but we've got a lot of new people coming into the space. And for many people, the good old days are 2021 and 2022. And, those weren't really the good old days. They weren't really representative of where cell and gene therapy investment had been. That was almost our bubble. And so we need to really be thinking back to 2017, 2018, where we had good levels of investment, but that were a lot more targeted. And so what we've seen now is a downturn, but things are starting to come back. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, don't expect a massive rebound. And the reason for that is there are a lot of macroeconomic environmental factors that are affecting this. So the first one is, companies need to graduate into the public markets or graduate into being acquired by big pharma. And we haven't seen a lot of that happening recently. And particularly with the IPOs, those companies then stack up within the private environment, and VCs aren't able to then recoup some of their money, pay that back to their LPs, who are their own investors, and then get new cash injections. And so you've got these VCs kind of in this holding pattern alongside all of their companies, and they're challenged moving into the public market. One of the reasons being the high interest rates, particularly in the US. And so as long as those interest rates in the US remain high, that move into an IPO situation is going to be a lot more challenging. So we end up with kind of everyone stacking up, and it becomes a lot more challenging for VCs to raise new funding rounds, and thus for them to support new companies. So that's the other one. And I think the third component is we've had a rationalization of new companies that are being formed. And really, up until now, within cell and gene therapy, it's been new, it's been exciting, and there's been very much a case of, we've got great science, so invest in us. And VCs are not doing that anymore. I think, the VCs have also had to grow up and see some of the challenges, particularly with some of the gene therapy companies that we've seen not great results with recently. And so, what I want to emphasize is that investors invest in good therapies, not good science. The good science needs to underpin the therapy, but it's the therapy that's going to go forward and treat patients and is going to create a return. And so a lot of the messaging that we're having here is to people when they are thinking about their company. Great science, wonderful, but don't come to a VC with great science. Come with a great therapy and a way forward. So understand your product, understand your market, understand where it's going to go, the cost and the timing, and have a viable path forward. And ensure that you know what else is available out there. Our days of just creating cell and gene therapies and letting them stand alone are gone. We have to compete with large molecules and small molecules, and we have to take those into account. And so that's really the overriding message that's going out at this meeting.